Hello, everybody. My name is Maria from Colombia. I'm super happy to be with you and with our amazing guest. Her name is Amel Tafsout from Algeria, and we are so honored to have you here with us. Let's give her an applause.
Thank you, Maria.
How are you, Amel?
I'm fine. I'm very honored to communicate with people in Colombia and hopefully some other people from Latin America.
Exactly. So you speak a little bit of Spanish. I know that you understand a little bit.
Understand. I understand, and is I love the language because there are a lot of words. There are Arabic words, and I that is my next project is to speak fluently. When if one day I come to Colombia, I can communicate in Spanish.
Super. Okay, so Amel, let's start from the beginning. Where are you from, and how did you start your dance journey?
Thank you. I am from Algeria, and I am from the mountains. Actually, I am from the northeast Algeria. The mountains are called the Auris Mountains, and they are very important for various reasons. One reason is that is the area where a very important Amazigh Berber queen was fighting the Arabs when they came to North Africa, and she was a warrior. She was a shaman. She was also a queen, and the second is the Algerian Independence War started in the Aras Mountains, and it started by the peasants. It didn't start by the students. And the Independence War is to be independent from French colonialism. And when I was little, I was learning the dance and music and with the women. So my big influence is my grandmother and the women of my family. And we used to sing when we make couscous. We used to sing when we work, and we tell stories, and we play the drum, and also we dance. So it's not like just the dance, it's the dance, the drumming, and the singing. They are together, they belong together. And that's how my background was. And because we don't learn our dances at school, we learn it exactly in the real setting. It's in weddings, in celebrations, and we that's the way we learn the clapping, we learn everything by watching actually the elders. And I remember my first time. I come also from a region that is an Amazigh Berber region, so I have all that background from home, and where we worship the river, we worship the oldest tree, and the Amazigh dances. The Amazigh is the politically correct nowadays to call the Berber people Amazigh people, because Berber came from the Greeks and from the Romans, because they considered us as barbarian people, that as if we don't have a civilization. And nowadays there is a big awakening about our own identity. And as you see, I am wearing something very specific and very important for us. It's called the Aza, and that is the symbol of the Amazigh people. And it means Amazigh means the free people, because they had different religions, and they accepted different religions as long as they keep their freedom. So those dances I'm talking about, they are all fertility dances. So what does it mean is, before you put seeds in the land, the sowing, you have to have a pregnant woman, and then when you have the harvest, the first fruit they are giving to the youngest girl is about the cycle, all that. So those dances are very important. And so And then when I went to school, when we became independent, I had Russian teachers. And it's very interesting that my math teacher was also my dance teacher. And she taught me a lot of Eastern European dances and also folk dances. My first performance, I was performing a Scottish dance taught by a Russian woman. So it was very interesting. But I loved all those dances because we didn't have classes about our dances. We learn in weddings. That's how you start dancing and you start, just improvising and things like that.
So
Yeah.
I have a question now that you mentioned that you don't learn dances, in schools and something like this. So, for example, do you have folk troops that perform and that you can join, and the government they support these groups, or is something that is like down, or the government and the people support the folk dances?
So what happened is, so in weddings, there's always dance and there are dancers, but I'm talking about the specific dances here. There are the Amazigh Berber dancers. um, the first person to perform the dance is the grandmother, and she performs the dance because we offer the dance to the bride. So she's performing the first dance to her granddaughter who is getting married. And there is a kind of hierarchy. So the grandmother, and then the mother, and then the sisters, the aunties, and then everybody can dance. So the grandmother, even if she's 90, 80, she would perform for her granddaughter. And to just relax the whole situation. And then because she's very respected, it's very common for us that we help the family who is doing the wedding ceremony in giving money. But the way how we give money, we don't give presents. Sometimes we do, but usually we give money to support them in organizing the whole wedding ceremony. And that's very common when somebody dances, that we give money, but we don't put the money, we don't have a bra, we don't show our body. It's all beautiful costumes. And sometimes there is like a kind of basket where people put the money there. Or if you want to respect the grandmother who is performing for her granddaughter, sometimes they might just put some money in her hand or something like that. And so now that people sometimes they don't have very much money for a wedding ceremony. Our wedding ceremonies are very, very, very expensive. um, for example, uh, first of all, you have to have the dowry, and also a long time ago you have an orchestra, and then people are coming and you have to feed them. A long time ago, the wedding was 7 days. And nowadays it's 3 days and sometimes less.
But it's still a lot of days. I mean, 3 days is 3 days of like giving food to people, drinks to people. I mean, entertainment to people is
Yeah.
a long, long party.
Yeah. And actually, recently they have now, it's not taking place in their homes. They have what we call wedding halls, and they rent the wedding hall for one day, like big cities like Algiers or Rabat or even Tunis. They just rent a wedding hall where everything is happening there. And what is very sad, according to me, is that the orchestras are now replaced by DJs, and you have
Yeah.
DJs for the women and you have DJs for men. And sometimes it's mixed. In big cities now, you have a wedding that is mixed. But a long time ago, the women had their own women orchestras, and it's fabulous to see that. The women are playing all the different instruments, and the men, they have their own orchestras.
Yeah, I was going to ask you this: if the parties are like this is the party of the women, and this is the party of the guys.
It depends. If you are in the desert, for example, or in the country, they are separated. But in the big cities nowadays, they are mixed. And what is fascinating, that people, if they don't have the money for a wedding celebration, we have what we call collective weddings. So let's say this is happening in the oasis, for example, where different families decide to have a collective wedding where they share the costs. And I'm talking about, like, you don't have only one wedding per couple, you have maybe 5 or 6 or even 10 wedding couples, and that is fabulous to see. That is really beautiful.
Super, so interesting, so interesting. So, talking about these dances, can you, because I know Algeria is so rich in culture, music, dances, but just a little bit of these dances that you know that you grew up with. So, if you can just like take us there a little bit.
Okay, I teach what I call Maghreb dances. So I teach Moroccan and Tunisian and Mauritanian and Libyan and Algerian. Although I am Algerian, I want to give credit to the whole Maghreb. So if you allow me, I have to express what Maghreb means, because there is North Africa and there is the Maghreb. Egypt is part of North Africa. Sudan is part of North Africa. But the Maghreb, Egypt is not part of North Africa. So culturally speaking, Egypt or Sudan, especially Egypt, they are part of the Middle East. We are not part of the Middle East for various reasons. When the Arabs came, so they are in the east, which means the Mashriq or Sharq, and we are Maghrib, we are in the west. So the Maghreb means really the sunset. We are the sunset people. And culturally speaking, there is a difference. If we talk about rhythms, our rhythms are not on the on beat. The dum is one in Egyptian music. For us, the one is on the tak. So the rhythms are very African, but we have different influences. We have the Moors who were in south of Spain. A lot of people, they think they came from Damascus or from Baghdad, but a lot of them, the Moors, are also Amazigh Berber people. So the music that has been created in Al Andalus, like the one who created those music schools in Al Andalus, is called Ziryab. Ziryab created a music school in Granada, one in Cordoba, and one in Sevilla. So when the Reconquista started in 1492, it's a very important date that is known in America as Columbus discovered America. That is also the fall of Granada. The fall of Granada is the end of the Moors in Spain. So then the people, the musicians, and the Muslim people, the Muslim community, and some Jewish community, they moved to North Africa and they brought their music with them. So we have in dance what I call the Amazigh dances. As I said, if they are in Morocco or in Algeria or in Tunisia or Libya, they are all fertility dances. What does that mean, fertility dances? They have a function. And the function is to thank Mother Earth for being so generous. So we have a ritual, we have a procession, and we dance sometimes. In the procession, we have in my region a dry branch and we put all the fresh fruit and we bring that to a shrine. The shrine is a shrine of somebody who was very well known for his generosity, and the whole ritual is happening around there. So those are the amazing Berber dances. As I said, they are fertility dances. I classify the city dances. The city dances are from Rabat or Fez or Algiers or Constantine, where I grew up, or Tunis. And those city dances, they have the Moorish influence. So the music that came from Al Andalus, there are specific cities, very ancient cities, very well known for that music, and that is Fez, Tetuan. A lot of Moorish people, they settled down in Tetuan, and there are some very specific places. In Tunisia is Tunis, and there is also Sousse. And in Algeria, there are three very important cities for the Andalusian style: Algiers, Constantine, where I grew up, and also Tlemcen. Tlemcen is very close to Morocco. So they have this heritage of Andalusian music. And it's interesting because it's not just men playing the music, women play the music too. So there are specific families, ancient families, who are known for the music. Not just the music, they are very known for the traditional costumes, and they are also known for the cuisine, for pastries. And it's the grandfather played that music, the father played that music, the son, the brother, the uncles, and also the women. And there are a very important name in Morocco is called shakara. Shakara is the whole family plays that music. And you have women's orchestra who play oud, they play qanoun, they play the tabla, they play the ney, they play everything. And it's very well known in our tradition that we have female orchestras and we have male orchestras. Okay, so Malouf, I grew up with the Malouf style. So there are different styles. There is the Malouf in Tunisia and the east of Algeria. There is the Hausi. It's very structured music. It's very classical music. And that music and the dance is also to do with El Andalus. And the dance is very often, when we talk about flamenco, the Andalusian North African dance is all about the hands, the arabesques, and the scarves. Is very well known with the scarves, the figure of eights in the hips, and it's very fluid and it's very beautiful. Whereas the Amazigh dance is all about the earth. You know, it's not like a depki where you are hitting the earth. You are breathing actually with the earth. You are communicating with the earth, and it's completely different because it's circle dances or line dances, whereas the Andalusian style is very often a solo dance. And then we go to the south, and in the south there are what I call desert dances. And one of the desert dance is the Naili style. The Naili, the Ouled Nail is the tribe, and the Naili is the style. The Naili is the rhythm. The Naili is the dance. And a man who is from the Ouled Nail tribe, he would be called Naili. The women, they are called Nailiya, which is one woman from the tribe, and then Nailiyat are, you know the expression Banat, like Banat Mazin. So Nailiyat is the plural of the female performers of the tribe of the Ouled Nail. And those dances, they are very different from the Andalusian style. And they are much more, because you are living in an oasis, the steps are very specific, and the posture is also different. Everything is different. And then there is what I would call more spiritual dances, and it's very interesting. They are much more in the south, and that is really where you start. We call it where you start doing some zikr, some chanting, and then usually you call it zar in Sudan and in the Middle East and in Egypt. We call it hadra, and the hadra, it's a ceremony, it's a healing ritual where you are creating that ceremony to heal one person who is sick. Or if you have, we believe a lot in a lot of saints. We call them, we have so many shrines, and there is one saint known for depression, for example. Another saint is known for maybe cancer. Another one, and the saints, they are not necessarily male saints, they are also female saints. And in our part of the world, we have also Jewish saints. So everybody is not just the Muslim saints, but people believe in them, believe in their healing power, even if they are not living anymore. There is a shrine. Then people visit the shrine, and then they give offerings, and sometimes they create what we call a hadra, which is the hadra for us is the presence of the spirit. So the musicians are going to change the rhythms until they find where the spirit comes from. And then you see the dancer starting really to dance until she or he gets in the trance. And that's the way we heal ourselves. Even if nowadays we have orthodox medicine, people, if it doesn't work, they still believe and they have the faith that in the shrine, if they create the ceremony, is going to help somebody. And they do that. They still do that.
Super interesting, super, super interesting. So let's talk, Amel, a little bit about the Ulet Nail. I don't know how to pronunciate this correctly, but because there are so many myths, and stories about them. So maybe if you can just share with us what you know about them, just briefly, because I know it's a big, big topic, just to clarify or to make clear some myths that we have around the Ulet Nail.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this question. It's very, very close to me because I am trying really to give the right information. There was so much misinformation that is related to Orientalism. And also the name, they are not called the Uled nail. So I'm not dancing the Uled nail because Uled nail is the tribe. Uled is the people of. Nail was the ancestor. Like I belong to one ancestor who is also a Sufi, and we belong to that tribe. So they belong to the tribe of Nail. Who is Nail? He was also a holy man, and he was very proud. And his daughters were very beautiful. He came actually more from the south of Algeria, close to Morocco, and this is probably also a legend. We are not sure if it's true. Apparently, other tribes wanted his daughters, and they want to trade with, we trade, for example, with crop or with different things. And he got really upset and took his tribe and went to the east, where I come from. My grandfather was a qadi, which is like a judge, in one of these oases where the Ulad Nail came from. So there is one tradition that they have, and that tradition has been misunderstood by the French when they came. So uh, when a girl is between 12 and 14, she leaves her tribe or her oasis, and she goes to another oasis to perform. And when and she gets paid with usually with gold coins. And when she had enough, then she goes back to her tribe and stop dancing, and she would they were very well they were very popular because they could choose their own husbands, and then they stop dancing and they teach their daughters the dance. So when the French came, they were, I would call them more courtesans, or very free women. When the French came, they couldn't understand this tradition. And what happened, there is one oasis called Biskra or Busaada. And the French created like barracks for the soldiers very close to this oasis. And then they created a rail train going through that. So the soldiers came in that region, and then there was a businessman who decided Busaada is called the oasis of happiness, and he decided that he's going to make of this oasis a big touristic attraction, and that started really changing everything about that area. First of all, they never danced naked. And I heard some dancers, Middle Eastern dancers from Germany or from somewhere else, always saying, oh, they dance naked. And that thing about dancing naked, Gedra, they think they dance topless, or the Awalim, they dance naked. It's some, I have to say, it for me is a male kind of fantasy about Oriental or Arabic women, and they never dance naked. So this businessman decided, okay, if you go to this oasis and then you have the camel ride and so on, and then when it is after midnight, they are going to have a performance of an alia. First of all, normally they never dance solos. They are always dancing in duets. And then is a solo and the dancer is dancing naked. So what happened when that started being like a touristic attraction? The dancer who danced naked never danced naked in front of her musicians. There was always a sheet between her and the musicians, and they didn't like it. And that was also the beginning of the whole destruction of that dance culture. At the end, because we were having the war, and they stopped dancing. And there was a moment where there was still that tourism going on. And we are talking about the 1920s and 1930s. And then you have the 40s and the 50s. When the 50s started, that was where the dance even started changing. They want them to have a tray, they want them to do acrobacy. And then, of course, the French soldiers, they brought cigarettes and they brought also alcohol. So that was the destruction of the whole dance culture. When we become independent, the whole dance culture died, completely died. I went to Busada in 1988, I think. I went to that oasis. It became a ghost land. No dancers anymore. And suddenly, out of the blue, Italian tourists came to that hotel, and suddenly the orchestra appeared. And who was doing their dance? A boy. And it hurt me so badly that suddenly the dancers, the women are not dancing anymore, the young dancers are not dancing anymore, and then the man, a young man, is representing them. And I was very, very sad about that, because, the dance is beautiful. The dance is proud and it has a lot of meaning. And so there was like completely silence about the Naili dance and Naili music too. We have a national ballet, Algerian ballet. It's a beautiful ballet. And as you know about Egypt, the choreographers, especially the male choreographers, they all studied in the Soviet Union. So when they came back home, they brought the ballet with them. So then you see an Algerian dance performed by the National Algerian Ballet. It's beautiful, but all the main movements, the hip movements, the chest movements, they are a little bit, it become ballet. It happened to Caracal, for example, in Lebanon. And Mahmoud Reza made some kind of, there are some traditional ones, but it is a ballet. And he never wanted to, he said, I am not a museum, I am creating. So the same thing happened in Algeria. So they didn't even do the Naili dance. But recently the music came back, and I'm very happy to say the Algerian National Ballet is doing the Naili now, and it has been reintegrated. But a long time ago, it was like it didn't exist anymore. And I know people from the tribe, I know women from the tribe, they don't dance. So there was something a little bit, I would say, a little bit the shadow of Orientalism and the war and the how the French used that. And the other thing that the French created, they created in an oasis called Biskra, they created cafes where the women used to be free and perform to different in different places. Suddenly they were stopped in, like like in jail, in one room, and that is a cafe, and that's how prostitution started. And when they were famous, they were world famous. They were world famous. They were like Ruth Saint-Denis tried to do the Naili dance. Agnès de Mille tried to do the Naili dance, but they really never connected with the dancers to learn exactly the right thing. And I feel it's my duty to teach the right thing, because it's still, when I see American performers dancing the Nelly style, they think they have to have a cigarette on stage. And I am sorry, but that has, it doesn't happen even with burlesque. But when they do the Nelly, they think they have to have a cigarette on stage. And I say that they don't dance with a cigarette. And that is all about the colonial postcards that you see Algerian women, if they are from Algiers or if they are from the desert, they all have a cigarette. And that is not authenticity. That is not being authentic. And I'm fighting that. And I'm fighting it not with anger, I'm fighting it in giving lectures about that.
Exactly, and with love and sharing your knowledge, sharing your dance. Exactly, exactly. So, Amel, I have a question. There are enough books or studies, research, documentaries that you think you have enough about the dances of Algeria, or not at all?
There is a book from the UNESCO, but the book, I think she was an anthropologist and she wrote this book about North African dances, but the woman was not a dancer. So she missed a lot in her information. And she wasn't really connected to the women. You know, I take groups to Morocco and I take groups to Algeria. I took 18 musicians and dancers to Algeria just before the pandemic, and I want them to meet the women. You know, if you go and you find yourself always with men, you are not going to know about the women and how they dance, how they are with each other. And I think if you go to Egypt or to any kind of Arabic country, try to connect with the women, because very often the tour guide is a man, and then you find yourself with men, but you don't meet women. And the people who come with me, they meet women, they dance with them, and the women, they are very, very happy to meet dancers from different countries, and they dance. I mean, everywhere where we went, because I speak the language and I know the culture, and it is my culture. So I want to invite you to come to see really the real thing, because going to hotels and seeing what is happening in hotels, that is not the roots, that is not the core of the culture. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give more information. I wrote an amazing article about the Ouled nail in German, and it was like 2 or 3 parts to explain exactly about how they live, what's the meaning of the costume. Imagine, for the French people, getting rid of the costume is part of the dance. So this idea about the Orient and about women being always available, like all Arabic women or Algerian women are available for Western men, that's not true. A fantasy. That is a male fantasy. Unfortunately, a lot of Western women think that is the truth, and it's not the truth. And that's why I'm an activist about, I want the women, my ancestors, to be respected. I want them to be dignified. Is about the dignity for me. My dance is about teaching you about the real thing, how women are with each other. But I want respect for North African women, for Arabic women, because that is not the image that is not who we are.
Exactly, exactly. I think it's super amazing what you are doing, trying to just share from your love, from your passion, everything, your history, your relatives, your blood, from this,
Thank you.
sharing to people like me from Colombia that your country, I mean, Algeria is so far away, and especially maybe the research are in English, not in Spanish, or maybe they are not even in English, but in Arabic or something like this. So it's very good that you can share this with everybody.
Thank you. I found one book about our dances. It was written by a man who is a choreographer. He's a very well-known choreographer. But he used the Laban. The Laban. You know what Laban is? The Laban.
Yeah,
He
the Laban method. Yeah, yeah,
system.
yeah.
He used
Hmm.
the Laban system.
The
And
system.
who is going to understand the Laban system? And
Very
who
few people.
and especially the Laban system, they don't have uh, the Laban is Hungarian and is used in ballet. And I asked my ballet friends to explain to me. They couldn't even explain it because they don't know the hip movements, they don't know the chest, they don't know some of the movements. They are not ballet movements. And I thought it's a pity that it hasn't been translated. He just put it in Laban system. And I am really keen and eager to be able to write about our dances. And probably this is the right time to ask for grants so that I can. I have done a lot of research all these years, and I am really trying to give the right information wherever I go.
Hmm. It's super good. It's super good, because in the dance community, many people, I mean, we don't think about writing. We don't think about writing and preserving. We don't think that what we do is important. Because we think no, somebody else is going to write about it. But no, it's like this is the moment. If you have the knowledge, and
Exactly.
especially you, if you have the knowledge, just like take your time and write, because there is a legacy, there is a other generations.
Thank you, Maria.
What are they going, from where they are going to learn? If there are no books, no documentaries, no films,
Yeah. And I my the way I see things now, our history has been written by Western people. And there are now Algerian women, Egyptian women, Lebanese women, Moroccan women. They are writing, and I always say it's time to rewrite our history. It's time to rewrite our dance. It's time. It's time. This is our time, because when I am on stage, Maria, I'm not on stage to be a diva. I am on stage because all my female ancestors are with me. I am very aware of my roots. I'm very aware of, if I am doing something, I have the opportunity to have an education. My mother didn't have an education. My grandmother had didn't have an education, but they had their tradition, they had their knowledge. But me, who is living here in the West, I have the tools. I can write, I can speak, I can dance, I can breathe, I can play drums, I can sing. And this is, I am not doing it for myself, I am doing it for my ancestors. Because we have been abused, we have been misunderstood, and this is a time for us. We have to do it ourselves. We shouldn't wait for a man to do it for us.
Super, super, super. I think that project, and all your career, and this project that you have, in the stage and writing and just sharing this is super, super amazing. So thank you so much, Amel, for what
Thank
you are doing.
you.
And I know that your time is, I mean, we have short time, because talking about your culture could take days, months,
Thank you.
but we have to just like, how can I say, have this like a little bit short, so everybody enjoys this as a appetizer of what you are going to have in the festival. So thank you so much for your time and for sharing all this knowledge with us.
And thank you, Maria, for being interested in the history, in the roots, in the meaning of the dances. Thank you so much. My heart is full because Latin America is very, very close to me. I went to Mexico, I went to Chile, and I hope to come to Colombia, because when I'm teaching Latin American women, we have the same spirit, we have the same heart. I feel like I am part of them, and it's unspoken, there is something that we have we have that connection. Spain, the Moors, you know, but also the Native Americans, the natives from Colombia or the natives from Latin America. They are like the natives from where I come from. We honor the earth, we honor the nature, we honor nature. When you are honoring nature, you are actually honoring yourself.
Exactly, exactly, I cannot agree more. So thank you so much, Amel, for this amazing time that we spent together. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
And
so thanks everybody for watching this. This is going to be also translated, of course, in Spanish, so everybody can understand this. So see you soon, everybody. Kisses. Ciao, Amel. Thank you so much.
muchas gracias. Hasta luego.